Good morning. Just read Ezekiel chapter 6. It wasn't a really long chapter, and it kind of says the same things that have been said before in previous chapters. So at this point in the Bible, it's a kind of a rehash of, I would say, what Jeremiah was saying. But it starts off talking about the high places. And God has very harsh words for these high places, and that's where Israel was doing idol worship. They're supposed to worship God in the temple and bring him sacrifices. Instead, they're sacrificing to idols and burning incense in the mountains. And God says that he's gonna break those altars, and he's gonna make all the idol worshipers become killed and throw them at the feet of the idols, and just make the high places a wasteland. And he does say, verses 8 and 9 and 10, that there's going to be a remnant to be saved. Some will escape the sword. Among the nations, they'll be scattered. And it struck me that was another part of the whole plan for the coming of the Messiah. I've been reading this other book about the early church, and the scene was set perfectly for Jesus to come. What with, the Greek language being around universally, and Roman roads allowing travel of the gospel, but also having Jews scattered in different places. So people are familiar with the religion of Judaism. When the Messiah finally comes, and it just helps everything to click. You're not just going to somewhere and starting completely from scratch. It just made it easier to really catch a fire. That's part of God's plan, but he says a few people are going to be spared, and then finishes the chapter with just the whole land being desolated. He's just warning them, Israel's going to be destroyed because of your idol worship. He finishes verse 14, so I will stretch out my hand upon them and make the land desolate, yea, more desolate than the wilderness toward Diblath, and all their habitations, and they shall know that I am the Lord. I didn't look up what Diblath is, but basically, more desolate than the wilderness. Just massive rocks, nothing left. He warned them, and then he did it. God keeps his promises, and that was a promise here. So I think the thing to take out of this is just that idol worship is bad, and we need to search it out in our own lives, make sure we're not a part of it, and stand against it when we can. I don't know when we can as a culture, but I know in our own lives, not worshiping money, putting God first, not spending your days thinking about how I can get drunk, or whatever these things are that just occupy your headspace, and you're basically worshiping other things instead of God. We need to cut those out. So